Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Mon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leader in rushing, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Want to get you guys a little afternoon content as all kinds of news swirling around the Green Bay Packers has dropped here this afternoon while we were out running around doing the old Christmas season errand runs. And excited to talk ball with you guys. We got a Jayden Reed update from practice. We got a huge practice update with other players like Marshawn Lloyd, Matthew Golden, Quay Walker, Carl Brooks. We'll dive into all of that. We've got a new Green Bay Packer as the Packers signed a defensive tackle. We'll talk about him, show you a little Baldy's breakdown, tell you what he thought of the newest Green Bay Packer. And then we will jump into a little Super Bowl odds, and Jordan Love MVP talk is starting to heat up a little bit as spoiler alert, that is your NFC Offensive Player of the Week. We'll dive into all that and more. Before we do, if you guys would do that YouTube stuff for us, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thanks for making us part of your afternoon. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you, talking Packers on a daily basis. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live like now in the future. Hopefully everybody's having an awesome afternoon. We got Nick McSwain in the chat. What's up, buddy? Great news, says Fitzroy George. Good to see you in there, buddy. Paging Dr. Crutch. Good afternoon, brother. Pumped about Jaybird. Absolutely, man. We're going to dive into that right off the top. How'd that shopping go, Clay? Says Michael Diesel Train. It went as you would expect. I lasted about 20 minutes in the store and said I'll be in the car. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we'll get into that on another time. It's it was a good day though for sure. Nick McSwain says, Clayton, do you know where I can get the graphic of teams coverage percentage like cover one man? You're probably talking about this graphic right here. We'll be quick. And we'll dive into what we're going to cover. This you can find, if you'll notice up there in the upper right, at FBall_insights. If you'll follow them on X, they typically update it. I got to get the updated version myself here for the show. I think this just goes through week 11, so we need those numbers as well. But that's where you can find it, at FBall_insights over on X is where you can find that. Awesome follow, I'm telling you right now. That and Nerdin on NFL, excellent follows. So Cannonball John, good to see you. Mike Berry. We got Cheesehead Murph. What up, bro? We got, let's see who else in here. Nick McSwain, we already talked about. Yes, sir. You got it, buddy. You're welcome, man. You rock, Nick. All right, let's jump into it. Waste no time. Let's get you guys a Jayden Reed update here. Excuse me. Bill Huber tweeting out a story. You guys need to go check out that story. Awesome read. One of the quotes he had in it. Meanwhile, receiver Jayden Reed, who had his return to play window open on Friday before the November 23rd game against the Vikings, was looking fast on a cold day at Clark Hinkle Field. This is a great breakdown of the entire injury report from Bill Huber, so make sure you guys go check that out. What I did was quote tweeted his link, link to the article. Go show Bill some love. He's done an excellent job. So again, what do you hear there? Jayden Reed is looking fast, right? Now think about the injury that Jayden Reed had that he's coming off of, right? He had the Jones fracture, which Jason Wilde pretty much confirmed it came from Jayden Reed, that it was a Jones fracture. So anyone who still claims that it wasn't a Jones fracture, I'm sorry. Unless you just think Jayden Reed lied to Wilde, there's no reason to really think that. We can just agree to disagree. But then he broke the collarbone too, right? So the fast aspect of that, it sounds like the surgery, this is based off of reports like from Bill Huber and other reporters that were on the sideline at practice today, just watching him run routes on air, all that type of stuff. It sounds like he looks as fast as he ever has looked, and that's a great sign with obviously a Jones fracture. Those can be a little bit tricky. So now the collarbone, whole different ballgame. Obviously, that's not going to affect speed. What I'm worried about the collarbone a little bit is how's that going to affect how he takes contact. Now, Jayden Reed was kind of one of those fearless players, right? He'd lower his head. He'd break tackles. He's a smaller, some would say he's an undersized guy, but I feel like, as Jeff Hafley would say, he's thick, right? And I feel like he's willing to run through arm tackles and pick up those tough yak yards underneath. Will that change his game a little bit? Listen, the reality is if it does, understandably so. Anybody who's broken a clavicle, you've broken a collarbone, man, they say it's one of the most painful things you'll ever experience. That's got to be in the back of your mind. I think back to when Jordy Nelson got his ribs broke on the sideline, that sideline catch. I think it was the year before his final year. or maybe it was his final year with the Green Bay Packers. Matter of fact, he didn't look the same after that. Now, I'm not suggesting Jayden Reed won't look the same. I'm just simply saying sometimes those type of hits, it does play a role in how you approach the game moving forward. It's something to keep our eye on. Now, let's take our first look at Jayden Reed, and this comes from our buddy Paul Brettel with a great video clip he got here from practice of Jayden Reed out there running, like I said, just some routes on air. Let's just take a quick look here. Actually, probably better we approach it that way. We'll keep it muted. And you see nothing special here, just a little whip route back out. Look at the hands. Jayden Reed always had great hands since he became a Green Bay Packer. So again, everything you see there, full practice gear, right? Obviously non-contact in this clip, but Jayden Reed looks good to go. I think we will see him on Sunday. I sure hope we do. I think that would be absolutely awesome to get Jayden Reed back into the fold. We know how important he is to this Green Bay Packers team. We know how important it is to get someone who Matt LaFleur talked about earlier today can play so many different roles, right? You know, you think of him as a slot receiver, most people do, but as we talked about when Jayden Reed was drafted and coming out of college, what I noticed on the tape from Michigan State was this guy can play Z. So again, like Greg Cosell always points out, those Z's within certain offenses, the moving Z might as well be a slot receiver, right? Also, the slot receivers and the fact that they move and will kick outside when you've got that moving Z element to your offense, they might as well be an outside receiver. So he can play Z, he can play X, he can play F. Christian Watson, he can play Z, he can play X, he can play F. Romeo Doubs, mostly X. We've seen him play a little bit of F this year, not really a field side Z. You want him in a phone booth, right? What did we see from Dontavion Wicks last week? A lot of F motion, right? He kind of got showcased last week against the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving. And you see he can play pretty much all the positions. What did we see from Matthew Golden earlier this year, right? We saw him start to press into the X position while Romeo Doubs would start to take some of those snaps in the F, right? So what Matt LaFleur has done is he's got this multitude of weapons, the wide receiver room, that could play all positions on his offense. And you guys remember when we went young at receiver, and we're still kind of young at receiver, obviously, but when we first started this whole, all right, let's go draft Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, and then, of course, Jayden Reed, we always said, man, it's going to take some time before they can learn the offense and learn all the choice aspects, the choice route aspects in Matt LaFleur's offense at each wide receiver position. Well, guess what? That time has arrived. And you're starting to see Matthew Golden press into that before he got hurt. I feel confident that Matthew Golden can do the same thing. So again, Jayden Reed looking good on the practice field. Let's see what Matt LaFleur had to say earlier today in his press conference. This was tweeted out by the Packers Twitter account over on X. He was asked specifically about Jayden Reed, and I just tweeted out Jayden Reed may take the field this Sunday, may take the field again. We haven't gotten confirmation yet. This Sunday, for the first time since week 2, Packers head coach Matt LaFleur talks about his versatility he brings to the game. Again, I've got it turned all the way up. You may have to turn your TVs up, your monitors up a little bit more. Here was Coach LaFleur on Jayden Reed earlier today.
What are the different things in Jayden Reed's game whenever he does get that you can tap into as a play caller?
Well, I think, number one, he's got a ton of experience, and you guys see how we've used him in the past in regards to moving him all over the place. There's a lot of things that he brings to our team, just in regards to he's a yak machine. He really does a really good job, whether it's handing him the ball, flipping him a screen.
We didn't even mention that, right? How many times we've seen him on a jet sweep his rookie year. Now, what's cool is last week you seen Bo Melton on a jet sweep, right? Christian Watson's rookie year, a lot of jet sweeps. Jayden Reed's rookie year, a lot of jet sweeps. You see Matthew Golden on a couple this year, if I remember correctly. Savion Williams. So now you've got these guys lining up in all these different positions. X, F, Z, doesn't matter. They'll kick into the wing occasionally, right? And that was what was so cool about the Bo Melton jet sweep on Thanksgiving was you had him in a nasty split Z. They moved him in not quite the wing, but kind of that attached right next to the tight end. And then let him come set, snap the ball, quick jet, little jet sweep off to the left, and he's off to the races for 14 yards, an explosive run on the day. So I didn't even mention that with Matthew Golden, with Jayden Reed. You've still got those jet sweeps, those end around, that little trickery, right, that you can apply there with his game as well.
Getting him downfield in a pass concept. He does
getting him downfield with a pass concept. You guys remember triple coverage throw that Jordan Love launched to him, and he just brung it down. Also, another play that I think of when I think of Jayden Reed's rookie year. You guys remember the game-winning drive against the Saints at Lambeau Field? Pretty cool. Non-fade. It was a slot fade, right? Ran a slot fade, game on the line, diving grab by Jayden Reed. Again, that's a deep route. I remember tweeting that out and going, stop calling him a slot receiver, guys. Yeah, he plays it out of the slot, but this guy can hit home runs over the top too. How many times are we going to see it on the deep climb routes, right? Everything. The deep climb route, the slot fade, non-fade, right? You seen that was an extended post route that he ran. I believe it was against the LA Rams that he caught in triple coverage. It may have been Houston, but nonetheless, he can run every route on the tree. Jayden Reed is an absolute weapon in that regard.
A really good job after the catch, but I think it's all the little things that he does when he's not playing with the football in regards to just the dog mentality he brings to our offense. I mean, he's always doing a lot of the dirty work, digging out safeties, just competing to the highest level.
And that's the big thing, right? No block, no rock. And Jayden Reed, he is the epitome of that. Now, is he a better blocker than Christian Watson? No, absolutely not. Is he a better blocker than Malik Heath? No, he's not. But the willingness to get in there and dig those safeties out. You guys remember earlier in the year, Romeo Doubs digging out the safety. It was just a couple games ago. I think he's the Vikings. Dug out the safety. So what we called it was an X lead, I believe is what we called it, where he just ignores the cornerback in front of him and goes and digs the safety out and then allows our boy, I believe it was Emmanuel Wilson, make the corner miss. And I think we end up scoring a touchdown on that play. So again, huge factor in playing receiver to Matt LaFleur's offense, obviously with Jayden Reed being able to block. So again, really excited to get Jayden Reed back into the fold. I think he'll play Sunday. I'm sure he'll be listed as questionable, and then we'll find out at game time whether or not he is going to play. But I want to hear from you guys. If you're watching this video back later, let me know in the comments what you think about Jayden Reed. Do you think he'll play Sunday? Do you think it'll be limited snaps? Will be 100% snaps? How do you feel about Jayden Reed returning to the football field for the Green Bay Packers? We want to hear from you in the comments. Make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. All right, let's shift gears now. Some more practice information. This came in from Rob Demovsky. We've been kind of closely monitoring this. As you see, he tweets out the first look at running back Marshawn Lloyd since training camp. All right. See here, his IR practice window opener this week. Same for defensive end Colin Oliver, who hasn't practiced since rookie minicamp. Jayden Reed is into week 3 of his IR practice window. So you're seeing Marshawn Lloyd back on the field. I want to back up for just a second and talk Colin Oliver. Matt LaFleur was asked, and he did not want to answer the question. He kind of grinned and said, do I have to tell you? No, we see him as an edge. So now, again, we see him as an edge defender, talking about Colin Oliver. That's what Matt LaFleur said. Does that mean he's just going to play edge? No. I think that they'll use him kind of like a sandbacker from time to time. They can also line him up as an edge defender and drop him into coverage in those fire zone blitzes. So maybe you'll see that. But also, like Matt LaFleur said, Colin Oliver's way behind schedule right now, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we see just minimal snaps, something like Tyron Hopper last year. You guys remember last year, wasn't it like less than 50 snaps that Tyron Hopper saw? It was something pretty minute like that. I could see that being the case for somebody like Colin Oliver. But again, Matt LaFleur did say, for what it's worth today at the presser, he sees Colin Oliver as a defensive end, as an edge defender, not necessarily a linebacker, although we've seen on the college tape he can do that. Now let's get back to Marshawn Lloyd here. As you see at practice, the first look at him running routes, looks twitchy, looks good, right? Doesn't seem to have any kind of restrictions whatsoever. He shouldn't. He's been out for a while. They've definitely played it safe with this injury. I think it was the hammy, if I remember correctly, either a hammy or a groin that was bothering him that kind of set him out for this long. It's nice to get a little bit more depth at the running back position as you get a little later in the year here, because obviously, man, this is something that's going to be huge, right? This is going to be something that's absolutely huge for the Packers if he can stay healthy. Turt, you just got me, bub. He said, oops, he got hurt. JK, I was literally like, is there something that just broke that I didn't know? And you know what? I wouldn't have been surprised, right? He's just had the worst luck up to this point for sure. So again, Marshawn Lloyd making it back. I think could play a huge role in the passing game. If you guys will remember, in preseason, he caught that 33-yard wheel route in a preseason matchup. Beautiful throw and catch. down the sideline, and that's the play he got hurt on. And you even seen him in the running game a little bit too. You could tell the burst was there. Matt LaFleur really, really likes Marshawn Lloyd. I think they've played this about as good as they possibly could, right? They have played this as conservative as possible with their boy Marshawn Lloyd. If it doesn't work this time, I do not hold the Packers responsible. I'm not going to dog on the Pack. Oh, well, you did this. No, they have given Marshawn Lloyd every chance to get healthy, and this isn't a shot at Marshawn Lloyd. You could tell this dude wants to play football. I think he's just one of those guys, a rare breed, where he's so twitchy and got so much burst. Sometimes you can hurt yourself on a consistent basis with all that burst, you know. But again, I'm excited to see what Marshawn Lloyd can do once he gets back in a consistent manner. Now let's switch gears and go a little deeper into the injury report from earlier today. Rob Domofsky had tweeted this out, and here is just kind of the entire list of what we got going on. Matthew Golden, Quay Walker, Carl Brooks, Nate Hobbs, all practicing today. None of them played last week against the Lions. So again, Matthew Golden, that's a great sign. We want to get him back on the practice field, get him back out there in some fashion. It kind of feels like he's got a good shot at playing this week as well against the Bears. Quay Walker could be huge. Now, listen, I know you guys know I'm as big of an Isaiah McDuffie fan as anyone. I think he has taken complete advantage of this opportunity that's been laid at his feet with Quay being out, right? But if the coaches who watch practice all week long think Quay Walker is the better player and he should start over McDuffie, great. If they think that, hey, let's ease Quay back in with maybe limited snap count, I can understand that. And it's just really, really nice knowing that you got Isaiah McDuffie who can kind of help fill in that void, right? And maybe let's say you send Quay out there and say, all right, Quay, let's shoot for 10 to 20 snaps for you. Maybe Quay is the linebacker that comes out in the base package and they just let McDuffie wear the green dot, right? Until Quay is, okay, we're good. You're ready to roll. You're fully healthy after that stinger. That might be the best way to approach this as well, right? But again, Carl Brooks, we talked about that in the early episode today. I think it could be huge if Carl Brooks makes it back and obviously play as some 3-tech. He played 1-tech a lot last year when Kenny wasn't on the field. Carl would play 1-tech. But this year, what you've essentially had happening is Kobe Wooden, the general, has been playing 1-tech and Devontae Wyatt 3. So now you got to ask yourself, okay, do they move Kobe Wooden around a little bit into the 3 and let Carl play 1? Do they keep Kobe Wooden at the 1? I hope they keep Kobe at the 1, and then maybe mix and match Carl Brooks in at the 3 along with Warren Brinson, who's got a albeit minimal snaps, but got a really good quarterback pressure rate at the moment. That might be the way to also handle this as well. Now Nate Hobbs, kind of like Quay, some people hear Nate Hobbs is coming back and they go, "Don't take Carrington off the field." I could not agree more. Could not agree more. I want to keep Carrington Valentine on the field as much as possible. But it's nice to know you got a guy that this front office believed in. And listen, the reality is Nate Hobbs has not been healthy since he got here. Like a couple weeks in training camp, he got hurt. And ever since then, he's been behind the 8 ball. It seemed like every week he was trying to get ready to play. Oh, crap, we have to have a surgery. All right, let's put him on IR. Then he comes back from the IR and he gets a little banged up again. So I'm trying to kind of curb the enthusiasm with Nate Hobbs, but also be realistic that he hasn't had a good, clean shake at staying healthy and being able to really absorb what his role could or could not be in this defense of Jeff Hafley. So again, I would stick with Carrington Valentine and then bring Nate Hobbs in off the bench. If you guys remember, before he did get hurt and they kind of took him out, it seems like Carrington kind of took over that role from him there in that last game, if I remember correctly. So just something to keep an eye on there as well. But we get a quick clip here of Matthew Golden, I believe it is, on the practice field. As you can see, our boy out there, run a little shake route, looking good, right? Everybody got the hoodie on, got the sweats on. You guys know it was cold out there today. But again, Matthew Golden, I'm excited to get him back on the field, man. I think that he can be a game changer. You look at Matthew Golden's numbers and you think, oh, man, he's underachieving. Not at all. Not at all. Again, Matt LaFleur talked about it earlier today. The offense, the ball is designed to go to the open guy. Now, you try to get these guys in the specific position on offense, whether it's the X, the F, the Z, whatever it may be, the wing. You try to put them in a position where they can be the primary receiver on a maybe not necessarily an equal amount of snaps as the others, but a similarly equal amount of looks to get these guys and get the ball spread around a little bit. So I think that's what you'll probably see with Matthew Golden moving forward. Listen, he's under contract for 4 years. You don't have to rush him into any kind of role. I'm just telling you right now, any fans out there that say, we got to get him the ball, we got to get him the ball, we got to force. When I hear we need to get him the ball, you know what I hear? We got to force him the ball. And I could not disagree more. I would love for our first round pick to go out there and win Rookie of the Year, but that's not the goal. The goal is to put the guys on the field that gives you the best chance to win. And I do think Matthew Golden is one of our best 11. I believe that on offense. However, you can't make the club in the tub. You've been banged up. And some of these other guys, the looks are getting schemed open for them. You know, we've seen some of the deep shot plays to Matthew Golden where the coverage is pretty tight because they were kind of shading the coverage toward him because they know they're not going to be surprised that he ran the fastest 40 time amongst all receivers at the combine this last year, right? So that's not going to sneak up on any teams. But again, I'm excited to get Matthew Golden back for sure. And then here's our first look at Quay. Apologize for the sound there. So here's Quay on the sled. Again, keep in mind, what did he have? It was a stinger, right? So a little neck injury. And just seeing him smack the sled here, what do you guys think? How does this look, man? Does he look healthy? And it's kind of hard to tell, right? But to me, looks pretty good, right? Looks pretty good. Didn't look like he was holding back there at all, smacking the sled, right? So excited to see Quay get back out on the field for sure. And again, man, thank God for Isaiah McDuffie. What a great job that dude has done filling in for Quay Walker while he's been banged up. So again, man, you got a lot of players that are potentially coming back from injury this week, man. We talked about Matthew Golden, Quay Walker, Carl Brooks, Marshawn Lloyd on the previous video, Jayden Reed as well. You got all these guys that are looking to step back into the fold. And what you notice about these guys, Quay Walker and Carl Brooks especially, you talking about two players that's got a ton of snaps as Green Bay Packers, a lot of experience. And that's what we need. That's what's so crazy about how, in my opinion, this team has overachieved this year because you had the youngest roster already and you're down Tucker Kraft. Tight end has played the most snaps for you since, of any tight end on your team, right? Quay Walker, he's played more snaps than any stack backer on your team. We've been missing him. Carl Brooks, I would venture to say he's probably top two, at least, maybe top three, probably top two in terms of overall snap count that he's had since he became a Green Bay Packer compared to the other defensive tackles that are not named Devontae Wyatt. So you're starting to get the youngest team is starting to get some of their veterans back in the fold. And I think that's going to do nothing but help. So really, really excited to see all these guys get their shot. And listen, Nate Hobbs too. I know he's underperformed. I think everybody kind of universally agrees with that. You guys know I've been very vocal. I think Carrington Valentine is the better corner. Now, does that mean he's going to be the better corner moving forward? Absolutely not. That's just what we've seen up to this point. However, you've seen Carrington miss a couple tackles against Detroit. That's his weak spot of his game. I feel like he's a very good cover corner, not as physical, not as good of a tackler in the run game. Nate Hobbs is. So maybe they see something in Nate Hobbs to go, you know what, we're playing Chicago this week. Chicago is a physical running team. Maybe we put Nate Hobbs in there to help set the edge at the cornerback position to stop their running game. All these things come into factor when you're trying to decide who's going to play and who isn't. But if you're watching this video back later, let me know in the comments what you think about Marshawn Lloyd, Matthew Golden, Quay Walker, Carl Brooks, Nate Hobbs. How do you feel about those guys coming back healthy? We want to hear from you in the comments. What would be your starting lineup? Would you just, nope, if Quay's good, if he's healthy, he's 100%, he goes out there for McDuffie. Would you rather keep McDuffie on the field? Would you rather keep Valentine on the field? Or would you rather have Hobbs out there? We want to hear from you in the comments. Let us know what you think about that in the comments. Make sure you hit subscribe and click the bell icon so you're notified whenever we do these live streams here in the near future. All right, let's switch gears and talk about the newest Green Bay Packer. I learned this earlier today from Easton Butler and Jacob Morley, as we have a new defensive tackle that has been signed to the Packers. And I'm hoping I'm saying the name right. You guys help me with the pronunciation in the chat if you don't mind, if I'm getting it wrong. Easton Butler tweeted out a couple hours ago, the Packers signed defensive tackle Jordan. It's either Jordan or just Jordan. It's spelled with an O at the end. I double-checked that, right? Jordan Riley off of the Giants practice squad per at Bill Huber NFL. So Bill Huber seemed to have broken the story here, at least according to Easton Butler. I love what Jacob Morley's mind immediately went to. What did he say? He said, hey, guys, before he joined the Packers in 2010, Howard Green's previous team was also New York. Just saying. Continuing to draw those parallels, right, between the 2010 season and 2025, when obviously in 2010 the Packers win the Super Bowl. Howard Green played a pivotal role. And some people may roll their eyes at that because, listen, you look at Jordan Riley here and you see kind of his measurables. His RAS was in the 2s. Cheeks RAS, right? PFF grades, I think they're in the 40s. He's been in the league for 2 years, former 7th-round pick. cheeks, let's be honest, right? However, when we signed Howard Green, I didn't remember thinking, oh yeah, we got Howard Green. Now I was a young fan, don't get me wrong. I've been rooting for the Packers roughly 8 years at that point, right? I had become a Packer fan, wasn't much of an NFL fan before, or a specific team fan anyway. And when they signed Howard Green, I'm like, okay, who cares? What about it? However, Howard Green played a huge role in that Super Bowl run there in 2010. Maybe Jacob Morley's right here. Maybe this is this year's Howard Green, right? Let's dive into some of this. Again, we told you the PFF grades don't look good. The RAS doesn't look good. Let's take our first look at him because he does look like a pretty big boy here. I don't know if you guys got the measurables in the chat or not. If you do, throw them up for me in the chat. And this was the first look that we got from him. It was Bill Huber that tweeted this out. And obviously, this is this is Riley at practice, new defensive tackle. To me, he looks pretty solid. That's him against lining up with Stack right there with Stackhouse. So you see he's wearing number 97. To me, he looks a little more fit than some of the other guys. I'm trying to think of to me, he looks like more of a Warren Brinson build. Would you guys agree with that? Bates comes up with the measurables here, 6'5", 325. Man, that's a big old boy, right? So he's bigger than Brinson. I mean, you can kind of see that Stack right there, right? That's number 93 Stackhouse. You could tell he's got more muscle than Stack. Stack's a little thicker, but I think he's taller than Stack, right? So this is a big boy right here. Everybody confirming. Yeah, man. Well, actually, here we go. This Joe Pack Joe says last physical said 6'3", right? 6'3", 315. So that maybe is a little bit closer to Brinson. Everybody else is saying 6'5". So, oh, damn. Okay, never mind. Joe Pack Joe confirming it is 6'5", guys. So 6'5", 315 pounds. Whoo! So listen, we can sit here and dive into the PFF grades, right? We can look at that and go, okay, yeah, he sucks, PFF grade. We can look at the RAS and go, oh, his RAS is horrible, he sucks, right? What I would rather do is listen to a former NFL lineman, a former offensive lineman in the National Football League, break down his tape a little bit, okay? And that's exactly what Brian Baldinger's doing here, okay? So and what's cool was this was on August 19th of 2023. So we're going back a full year, right? And I guess so this would have been preseason, not this year's preseason. This would have been preseason his rookie year. Let's hear what Baldy had to say. He said he's an A-gap force. They need defensive tackles that can play, and it sure looks like Riley can play. He was talking about the Giants at the time. Here was our boy Brian Baldinger breaking down the tape a little bit, and you could kind of see this is what we call shade, right? If he was lined up right over the center, he would be a zero. It would be a zero, just a straight zero tick, right? He's on the inside shoulder. We would call that a little bit of shade. All right. So there's no zero eye, obviously. So if he was over just a little bit further, you'd say A gap, or you'd say a one technique. In this case, he's still in the A gap. So this is definitely a nose tackle top player. Let's hear what Baldy had to say about him.
This Jordan Riley is a guy who builds his house right in the A gap. Nobody can get him out of the A gap. Like you watch his feet right here in this double team. He doesn't give up any ground. He escapes the starting center, Bradley Bozeman, and makes a tackle. Like he's just a force. You watch this right here and just watch him anchor. Like that's what he does. Takes on double teams right here. All right. Doesn't make the tackle, right? But he makes the play. All right. Nowhere to go. And then on 4th and 1, when you got to make a play, he abuses the center. He abused the center. He escapes and he makes the tackle on 4th and 1. Like you give the ball back to the Giants offense at midfield. Like this is a great play.
That's a nice rep.
2 weeks in a row now, scrimmage again.
Everybody listening on the podcast, you just seen him kind of bench press the offensive lineman and then work back to the ball. As a rookie, that's impressive.
Against Detroit, defense line coach Andre Patterson loves him. They got a force, an A-gap force. The 7th round pick out of Oregon, Jordan Riley.
So there you go. A big program too. Him playing for Oregon, obviously one of the better programs in the country. Now, there's a little bit to unpack there, right? What kind of role will he play? First of all, he wasn't signed to the practice squad. You guys correct me if I'm wrong there in the chat. He wasn't signed to the practice squad. He was signed off a practice squad, so he has to go to the active roster. What does that tell you? Tells me, okay, first of all, where's he going to get a snap count out? Probably one tech, all right? But we've already got Nazir Stackhouse, right? Is there a chance that Stackhouse goes to the practice squad? Or is this guy just going to take the roster spot for Devontae Wyatt because you don't want to lose Stack in case somebody tries to pick him up? My guess is they'll both stay on the active roster. But what it kind of tells you, in my opinion, the fact that you sign him to the 53, I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, they probably see this guy as a potentially better than Stackhouse playing one tech. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, you're not signing Riley to comp him or compare him to a Warren Brinson or maybe more so a Carl Brooks that played one tech last year. But is he going to be Kobe Wooden's backup? That's going to be the question, right? Now, here's the other thing. Who are you playing this week, right? You're playing the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are a running football team. So are you trying to beef up a little bit? Not that Riley's going to go in there and play 40 snaps, but you got an extra body there because Stackhouse is going to see an increase in reps as well, right? So that could be the case too. And as Adam Block said, I have concerns about Brooks at this point. I don't know what your concerns are, Adam, but as I read that, I immediately thought maybe they didn't like what they've seen from Carl and his injury because he has been out for a significant amount of time now. Maybe they see that like, oh, crap, we better get somebody else in here because Carl isn't where we want him to be, right? So that could be Adam's comment could be injury related, or it can be rooted in maybe just lack of play there. But I've always liked the way Carl Brooks has played. PFF hasn't liked him since his rookie year. He seemed to grade out much better in Joe Barry's defense than Jeff Hafley's defense. And sometimes that happens, man. Carl may go somewhere else eventually and ball out, right? So, again, with the addition of Riley, I think what you're going to get is a run stopper, somebody who can anchor there, an extra body to potentially play that one tech, because you'll typically go one in combination with a 3 or a 4 eye look on the opposite side. He'll definitely be that one, that shade, maybe a 2 tech from now. Every now and again. So you kind of see it playing out that way as well. But again, just a quick little update on that signing. If it had went to the practice squad, we wouldn't have even had a segment, right? But the fact that they poached him off a practice squad, signed him to the active roster, made me think they probably are a little higher on him than most people probably have looked into. So I want to hear from you guys in the comments. You're watching this video back later. Let me know what you think about Jordan Riley. How do you feel about his role with the Packers? Is this spelling something else for maybe a Carl Brooks or a Nas Stackhouse? Or do you think, hey, this is an extra big body in the middle, everything's going to stay the same? Carl Brooks, maybe once Carl Brooks is activated, they'll try to pass Riley back onto the practice squad. I don't know all the rules there. If there's a certain amount of time they got to stay on the 53 before you can put them on the practice squad, because obviously you have to sign them to the practice squad when you take them, or you got to sign them to the active roster when you take them from other practice squads. But let us know in the comments what you think about Jordan Riley, what role he's going to fit. And make sure you hit like, subscribe, and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here for PTA in the future. All right, let's shift gears and let's just talk a little Super Bowl odds. How's that sound? Some people are going, Super Bowl odds? What are you talking about, Chloe? What is this? Well, you guys know I put a lot of stock into the gambling community, right? I feel like they usually got their finger on the pulse pretty well. Sometimes it looks a little shady. They're so close to knowing what's going on, right? Well, Fox NFL tweeted this out. The top 10 Super Bowl odds as we head into week 14. So these are updated completely. Keep in mind, this isn't Fox NFL Sports. It isn't their Super Bowl odds. These odds come via DraftKings Sportsbook, one of the most popular sportsbook in online betting, right? That's out there. Here's what they're showing. Number 1, Super Bowl odds. The LA Rams at a plus 450. All right. And I'm pretty sure this is to win the Super Bowl. This isn't just to make the Super Bowl, I believe, right? Plus 450. Second is the Seahawks at plus 750. And then in third place via DraftKings Sportsbook, you've got the Green Bay Packers at a plus 1850. That is really impressive. Now you're going, hold up a minute. Isn't Chicago in first place? They are, right? Isn't Chicago leading the North? They are. Aren't they the number 1 seed in the NFC? Last I checked, they are. Aren't they in the driver's seat? Yep. Isn't Ben Johnson just all the rave? He's the real deal. Yep. Is it Caleb Williams? Boy, he's a franchise quarterback. No, but that seems to be the speaking point. It's funny. I was watching the McAfee show earlier today. You guys know I love the McAfee show. And they were talking about stats that Himbo, which they love Himbo stats. They use Himbo stats. If you guys don't know who Himbo is, go look him up. He's just kind of a stats guru that works for ESPN Analytics and all that good stuff. So they love pulling his stats. Himbo sent me these stats on this player earlier today, and they just rave over it, right? Well, he sent some stats that would sound pretty darn familiar. I should have posted the video on Twitter, but I was waiting for Pat to try to post it. That way I could just retweet it, right? But essentially what Himbo was saying is Caleb Williams is like ranked 32 and 33 in important statistics like CPOE, completion percentage, missing targets, things like that, right? All the advanced analytics. As soon as Pat realized what they were doing, that, these are negative stats towards Caleb, he started kind of referring to them, and Connor did too, like they're fake stats. Well, it's CPOE. What's over expected? Guys, do your own research. Do your own You keep complaining about how these stats don't matter and they're fake numbers, they're fake stats, but you don't even understand what they mean. You don't even understand how they're calculated. So how can you say they're fake stats other than the fact that the national media wants to prop up a large market Chicago Bears team, just like they did with Mitch Trubisky, just like they did with Justin Fields, and now they're doing it with Caleb Williams. How many times have we seen this movie? Again, the Bears are a very good football team this year. Their quarterback is playing like cheeks. And I say quarterback because if as a scrambling quarterback, he might be the best scrambling quarterback in the league. But that doesn't win you Super Bowls. That doesn't win you championships. You can scramble all you want to scramble. But if you're going to complete 55% of your passes or 58% of your passes and have literally, he's ranked in the 40s in adjusted completion percentage, right? Basically meaning if you remove the drops, he actually drops on the list, no pun intended, from where his completion percentage is. So there's a portion of the NFL fan base that goes, oh yeah, it's because his receivers are dropping passes. No, actually, he goes from ranked like 33rd into the 40s when you remove the drop passes. How does that make sense, right? So again, it's a higher completion percentage when you do the adjusted completion percentage, but he drops lower on the list when everybody else is compared in the same manner. So again, the reason I point that out is why are the Bears not higher here? Again, you got the Rams 1, Seahawks 2, Packers 3, Bills 4, Eagles 5, Patriots tied for 5th, the Denver Broncos 7th, the Colts 8th, the Kansas City Chiefs 9th, and the Baltimore Ravens tied for 9th as well at plus 1,800 respectively. So where are the Bears? Why does DraftKings Sportsbook and all the other major sportsbook, why do they not have the Bears as high as Bears fans think they should be? Why is that? You guys know where I've got Green Bay. We talked about our power rankings, and I gave you guys the complete formula and how we like to look into that, right? I've got them 4th. I seen that, and I went, damn, is that too high? Well, the numbers are the numbers. What's their winning percentage? All right, let's tally in their offensive scoring, their defensive scoring, their scoring defense, their offensive yards per play, their defensive yards per play, and the ever so important turnover margin. We tallied all that up against all 32 teams. The Packers fall in number 4 spot. Then DraftKings pops up and says, hey, we've got them in the number 3 spot to win the Super Bowl. But the Bears seem to think they're overrated, right? The Bears fans seem to think they're overrated. And any other NFC North team. Of course, the other two, isn't it funny? The Vikings and the Lions fans, boy, they're like a fart in the wind. They're nowhere to be found, are they not? Like, it got quiet real quick with the Lions and the Vikings fans. But again, this made me kind of stick my chest out a little bit and go, okay, our power rankings are pretty spot on. Like, I didn't plan on doing this, but since we're talking about it, we're on the topic, right? Let's hit it real quick. I'm just going to quickly, I'm not going to put it on the screen, but I'm going to cross-check these and see how many of these teams we've actually got ranked towards the top or similar to the spot where DraftKings got. Number 1 on my list with a 3.7 score, low score wins, we've got the LA Rams. Number 2, I've got the Indianapolis Colts, number 2 at 5.8. They've got them in the 8th spot, according to DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, the Colts are starting to struggle a little bit, right? Pat McAfee's really worried about that. But nonetheless, I've got them in the number 2 spot. They got them at number 8. The Seattle Seahawks, I've gotten the 3 spot. They've got them in the 2 spot, so that checks out. Green Bay Packers, I've gotten the 4 spot. They've got Green Bay in the 3 spot. That checks out. Number 5, I've got the New England Patriots. They've got them tied for 5th best odds. Number 6, I've got Detroit, and Detroit is nowhere to be found, right? So you're thinking, okay, why is Detroit ranked so high on your power rankings, Clayton? The main thing is points per play, on offense and yards per play on offense. They rank third and they rank second in those categories. And their turnover margin is seventh best in the league. So those are the three things that's holding them up. Now, winning percentage, they've done a horrible job coaching that football team. They're in the number 13 spot with that particular ranking. Defensive points per play, they're really struggling at 14th, so they're kind of middle of the pack across the league, and 11th in yards per play. So Detroit doesn't make their top 9 here, or top 10, I apologize. I've got Detroit in the 7th spot now, or the 6th spot, but keep in mind, the 6th spot. Keep in mind that's going to shuffle a lot after this week, obviously, right? I've got Denver in the number 7 spot, and they have Denver in the number 7 spot. How cool is that? I've got Houston 8, and Houston's nowhere to be found. Here's why I've got Houston so high. Okay, the main thing that's keeping them propped up, their scoring defense is 4th best in the league. Their scoring yards per play allowed is 4th best in the league, and they're 2nd in turnover margin. Right. So again, where is Chicago on this list? Chicago we have in the number 12 spot, and the main thing that's helping them is winning percentage and turnover margin. They're 1st in turnover margin. They're 3rd in winning percentage. What's that tell you with the other numbers being kind of down? Tells you Ben Johnson's doing a hell of a job coaching. Anytime the winning percentage far outweighs the other categories, that tells you, okay, they're making the most out of the least in that regard. So Ben Johnson, I feel really confident and comfortable saying that Ben Johnson is going to be a great coach. So again, that's your Super Bowl odds. Now, let's cross-check this to someone I've become very fond of over on Twitter. And thank you to Ryan Schlipp, Pack Daddy over at Packernet Podcast. He tweeted this out is the reason I caught it. Kevin Cole _ said the only 100% correct Week 14 power rankings at unexpected _ points. Here is their power rankings and how they sit currently. Rams 1, Packers 2. I've got the Packers 4. DraftKings has them 3. Unexpected points with Kevin Cole has them number 2. Bills 3, Chiefs 4, Seahawks 5, Lions 6. Much closer to where I got them, right? Actually, in the same spot. I think I had them 6. Patriots 7, Colts 8, Eagles 9, Ravens 10, 49ers 11th, Broncos 12th, Cowboys 13th, Texans 14th, Chargers 15th, Jaguars 16th, and then you got the Chicago Bears in the number 17 spot. Why is that, guys? Think about this. If the national sports media, ESPN, Fox Sports, the McAfee Show, everybody is talking the Bears up like they're arguably the best team in the NFC, right? But when you go to DraftKings Sportsbook, they don't have them in the top 10. You go to my power rankings, I don't have them in the top 10. You go to unexpected points, they don't have them in the top 10. Why is that? Again, Ben Johnson coaching his ass off. That team is struggling in some very important aspects of the game. If their turnover margin flips and they go from being the best in the league just down to 13th or 14th, watch them lose game after game after game. That's what's keeping them afloat. And the reason I mention that, because this huge matchup between the Packers and the Bears this week, the main thing you got to focus on if you're the Green Bay Packers is protect the freaking football. You've got to protect the football. If you protect the football, you win the ball, like Matt LaFleur says, you'll win the game. And that's what it's really going to come down to. So, again, if they continue to take the ball away and protect the football, the Bears may beat the Packers at Lambeau Field. But if we come out and if we break even on turnover differential, I feel really, really good about the Packers' chances of winning that ball game. Last I checked, 6-point favorites are the Packers as a set. The last time I looked at the line, and we'll give you guys an update on that tomorrow for sure. But with all that being said, you can't overlook any team, right? This is the filter I like to run things through, and we'll move on to the next segment. We just beat the Lions, right? We beat them by 7 points, but I think we would all agree there was no point in that game where we felt like the Lions were going to win that game. It just kind of felt like they're hanging around, but the Packers are the better football team. I'm going to ask you a series of questions here. Who would you rather have? And I need rapid fire in the chat from you guys, okay? Who would you rather have at these key positions? Get ready. Everybody get ready. You ready? Quarterback, 1 game to win. Jared Goff or Caleb Williams. 1 game to win. Not this will be the better quarterback in 3 years or 5 years. 1 game to win. Jared Goff or Caleb Williams. I'm going Jared Goff all day long and twice on Sunday. Why? Because he's a pocket passing quarterback. He plays the quarterback position. He's not going to look to scramble every other play, right? Everybody in the chat, Goff, right? Goff. There you go. Now, let me ask you this. Running back, 1 game to win. DeAndre Swift, hell of a running back for the Chicago Bears. Or Jahmyr Gibbs, who's grading out as the top running back in the league right now. It's close. I'll be okay with either. But if I have to choose between the two, I'm going Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Jahmyr Gibbs. Let's see the chat. Gibbs. Said it before you even answered. There you go, Joe. Gibbs, Gibbs, right? Okay. Now, so just some key positions, right? Let's think offensive tackle now, right? Look at the Lions' offensive tackles. Let's just go with their best. Penei Sewell at right tackle, right? Or whoever the best tackle is for the Chicago Bears. I know I'm being a little bit disrespectful, but I honestly don't know. I mean, Penei Sewell's considered pretty widely that he's a top 3 offensive tackle, maybe even the best offensive tackle in the game, right? He definitely got paid like that. So if you chose between their tackles, you would say, yeah, give me Penei Sewell, right? Now let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Edge defender, pass rush. I don't mean to laugh, but who are you taking? Montez Sweat for the Bears, or are you taking Aiden Hutchinson from the Lions? I'm going Hutchinson. So again, that doesn't mean the Packers are going to beat the Bears just because they beat the Lions pretty handily. You felt like you controlled that game the whole time. However, it is worth mentioning that when you look at that roster compared to the Packers roster or compared to the Bears roster, all the key positions, the Lions are the better team. And the Packers took care of business. Again, any given Sunday, anything can happen. What's the one X factor? Actually, there's 2 X factors. The Bears, I don't want to say they've gotten lucky, but they've been very effective at winning the turnover margin, number 1. Number 2, Ben Johnson seems to be a better coach than Dan Campbell. Those are 2 huge factors, guys. The head coach, the guy at the helm, and winning the turnover battle, that's absolutely huge to come out with a dub. So they have that going for them. But roster-wise, Lions were more talented. And again, what I mean by that is like, look at how Dan Campbell recklessly goes for it on 4th down. Now, I know Ben Johnson goes for it on 4th down too, but Dan Campbell will be doing some stupid stuff, right? So we just want to throw that out there, right? Yeah, I love it. Biz says, Hutch, although we have his kryptonite. Amen to that. Amen. So again, there you go. That's a great point, Coach. The Bears center and guards are better. Completely agree with that, man. Dahlman's playing his ass off at center. They look really good on the interior. And where did we hit home at a couple times was with that middle pressure, right, on Jerry Goff. So that's an important role too there. So let's say, Coach, that their center and their guards, right? Let's say the strength there and the Detroit Lions lack thereof, but the strength of the tackles for the offensive line or for the Lions, let's say the offensive line is just a push, right? You're still taking the quarterback, you're taking the running back, you know what I'm saying, across the board, edge defender, the Lions are the better football team. So that's how I run things through. That's the filter that I run things through when I'm trying to pick a game, trying to truly understand, all right, who's got the advantage here? Again, like Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get smacked in the mouth. That team comes out hot any given Sunday, they can win that ball game, right? So anyway, that's just a quick little look. Oh, yeah, there you go. Biz 1987. Clayton, I'd rather have Love, Tom, Parsons. Oh, wait, we do, right? It's just, man, you got to tip your cap to Goody. Goody went all in, boys, and he knocked this stuff out of the park, man. So it's going to be awesome to see this team grow together and continue to get better. But I just want to hit on those Super Bowl odds really, really quick like that, okay? If you guys are watching this video back later, let me know in the comments. Matter of fact, let's just keep going. We'll tack one more thing onto this segment, and this will all be in the same video, so you guys ain't got to check out another video if you're watching back later. Let's talk quarterback for a second. Jordan Love. Ladies and gentlemen, for the second time this year, the NFL announces NFC Players of the Week, Week 13. Your Offensive Player of the Week is our very own Jordan Love. 60% completion percentage, 234 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he had a passer rating of 124.2 for the second time this year. Jordan Love is your NFC Offensive Player of the Week. I think it's presented by Gatorade, right? So Jordan Love, we tried to tell him about Toyotathon, did we not? We tried to tell everybody, and people laugh. They think it's a cute little joke. No, this is real. This is a real thing, right? As Bates says, let's go Pookie. That's right, man. So again, and Coach Lynn, Goody is the man. Completely agree with that, man. So Jordan Love playing excellent football right now, right? What you're seeing with this Packers team, Micah Parsons playing his best football. Jordan Love's playing his best football. The offensive line, believe it or not, are starting to play their best football, which is really, really good to see because they struggle with run blocking and everything early in the season. They seem to they're starting to put that together a little bit better every week. You look at all the key positions we talked about. McDuffie's playing out of his mind. He's playing like a top 10 linebacker right now. I know we may be getting Quay back, but he's playing like a top 10 linebacker. Adrian Cooper's grading out in the top 20 amongst stack backers. Think the middle of that defense, right? And then, of course, post safety, it's always Xavier McKinney, and you got the easy the balanced rotation of him and Evan Williams playing post and spur. When you look at everything, right, across the board with this Packers team, the only thing that's missing, this breaks my heart to say it, the only thing that's missing on this team that might hold them back is a dominant 3-tech. It's a dominant 3-tech. And I hate to harp on it. And I don't want to be that fan because I can't stand fans that go back and go, we should have drafted this one here and we should have drafted that one there, and that'd be the perfect draft. It's not how the draft works, right? But what did we harp on all offseason when many people were screaming cornerbacks, wide receiver, this and that? We talked about 3-tech. This was a 3-tech heavy draft. And I don't even know some of the players that we like the most. They're probably struggling, to be honest with you. If I can get to my draft sheet without knocking everything off my desk here. I'm gonna name a couple of them off real quick. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm facing away from the thing here. So Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan. I think Walter Nolan's been injured the whole time. Derek Harmon, Tyleek Williams, TJ Sanders, Alfred Collins, Darius Alexander, right? Omar Norman Lott. Those are some of the top defensive tackles. Remember, we were saying, man, any of those in the top 4 or 5 tiers, get them in here, get them working with Wyatt, right? Obviously, that was even before you traded Kenny Clark. So you give up Kenny to get Micah Parsons. I think we all agree that's a great trade. But again, 3-tech is where we're struggling, right? I don't know if we're struggling or not, to be honest with you. I mean, I just showed you earlier on the earlier show today. If you guys want to go back and watch it, Warren Brinson's got a 13% pressure rate right now, minimum snaps. But it's like, let's get that dude some more snaps, right? You go out and you grab another D tackle today. I'm not saying our D tackles are bad. We don't have a dominant 3-tech. That's the only thing missing. And what's cool is you still got the 3rd best odds to win the Super Bowl this year. Some power rankings have you as high as number 2. I've got us in the 4th spot. And if Warren Brinson continues to develop and play good and Kobe Wooden, the general, continues to play better, you may go on this little run here and you got a chance to win the whole damn thing, right? And it all starts with Chicago this week, man. You got to, like Matt LaFleur says, you got to go 1-0 every single week. But Jordan Love being your offensive player of the week on the NFC side is absolutely awesome. Now, let's cross-check that. Okay, he won player of the week there, once this year. How's he looking in the MVP race? Glad you asked. Kalshi Sports, however you say it. Breaking. Drake May is now the favorite to win NFL MVP on Kalshi. Isn't it hilarious the Bears passed up on him to draft Caleb Williams? They've done it again, right? 45% chance here, according to Kalshi Sports, that Drake May wins the MVP. 44% chance that Matthew Stafford wins it. In 3rd place, it's significantly lower, but still 3rd place, Jordan Love at 7%. 4% for Dak Prescott. So Jordan has now leaped over Dak Prescott in the MVP race, according to various gambling sites, right? Why do I mention that? NFC Player of the Week for the 2nd time. Is it just me or the Bears fans that seem to think EPA doesn't matter, and the McAfees and these other guys that seem to think these are fake stats, the CPOE and all this? Jordan's knocking those stats and analytics out of the park, and the numbers, the MVP odds, have Jordan as a top 3 quarterback. Caleb Williams is stinking up the joint in all those specific statistics that are supposedly fake stats, and he's nowhere to be found, right? I'm just saying. Maybe there's something to that, right? Maybe there's something to that. Maybe I'm losing my mind too. Maybe it's not a big deal, but nonetheless, that's what you got going on with the Super Bowl odds, and obviously Jordan Love leading the way. So if you guys are watching this video back later, let me know in the comments what you think about the Packers Super Bowl odds and Jordan Love, his MVP odds. I don't care if he wins MVP. I'm sure Jordan don't care. It's all about getting that Lombardi and bringing it back where it belongs, and that's in Green Bay. Now, listen, it's an uphill battle. I do not feel like the Packers are the best team in the league right now. That's just me personally. I do not feel like they're the best team in the league right now. But they're definitely in the top 5. I'm seeing everything across the board. I showed you all these different reference points and this and that. My PTA power rankings, where I've got them at in the number 4 spot, I see them as a top 5 team. What you need to do now is be playing your best football as you go into the playoffs. And it seems like the Packers are doing that. We'll see if they continue that going in against the Bears here on Sunday. It's going to be an awesome game. I think it's going to be a one-score game. I do. I think the Packers have a great shot of winning this ball game at Lambeau. I think we got the better quarterback. I think we got the better pass rush. It's going to come down to protecting the football and not getting crazy, right? You don't feel like you got to win it on every throw. Take what the defense gives you and protect the football. Win the turnover battle. You're going to win that game. Could the Bears win? Yeah, they could win. They're playing really good football right now. They're high right now. Their defense has still struggled, but the takeaways are just unbelievable. And again, Dennis Allen, I'm just going to throw this out there. Matt LaFleur was praising Dennis Allen earlier today, right? Talking about their ability to take the ball away. He said he did a joint practice back in 2008 or 2012. Matt LaFleur was on the staff with Houston. They did a joint practice with Dennis Allen's New Orleans Saints at the time, okay? He may have been a DC at the time, but he was on the staff. And he said, yeah, we seen him emphasizing that back then too. Now, if you rewind a couple years, Jordan Love's first, I think it was his first come-from-behind win at Lambeau Field was against the Saints. Dennis Allen, I'm pretty sure, was the head coach. So it was Dennis Allen's defense that Jordan Love put that game-winning drive together. Doesn't mean he's going to do it against Chicago. The numbers look bad for Chicago's defense other than the turnovers they're forcing. But this is going to be a fun game, one-score game. So that's all I got, guys. The voice is going. I just want to get in here and talk some ball with y'all, and I was going to come up with one 15-minute topic and just do a quick hitter and get out. And I looked down, I'm like, we need to talk about that. We need to talk about this. We need to do that. So I'm glad we got a chance to hang out here. I know we got a bunch of people in. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. If you would, please do me a great big favor. Just hit like for us really, really quick. And if you're new here, hit that sub button and click that bell icon so you're notified whenever we go live in the future. We're going to do a little PFF preview tomorrow. We're going to start to dive into some of the key matchups. Packers, Bears. We'll look at our offense against their defense against our offense, right? We'll look at some of their Tuesday players, things like that, kind of get a good beat on, okay, what are the Bears doing really, really well? I'm going to try to dive into the tape later tonight and see how they're getting these turnovers. I want to come away with a good understanding of, okay, what are they doing in the turnover game that's so different than everybody else, if that makes sense. So that being said, that's it, guys. Thank y'all so much. We don't deserve the viewers and the listeners that we get. Y'all are always so kind, and all the support over at patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Everything y'all do, just please understand. Sometimes I don't get to say it as much as I want to. You are greatly, greatly appreciated helping us build this community here at PTA. So we will see you guys either later tonight or tomorrow. You never know when we're going to go live, so just make sure that bell icon is clicked. But thank y'all so much for making us a part of your day. My name's Clayton. This is PTA. Go Pack, go.
Here we go.
Bye, guys.